I finally signed the last document, making me the official owner of my first house. After 5 years of working 60-hour weeks and saving every penny, this moment felt surreal. My hand trembled slightly as I accepted the keys from the realtor, who congratulated me warmly. The pride I felt from achieving this completely on my own made the sacrifices worthwhile. Then came the certified letter, 3 weeks later. My parents were suing me for the house, claiming it rightfully belonged to my brother Jason. The document stated they would see me in court. Before I tell you how I defended myself without a lawyer, and what the judge discovered, let me know where you are watching from today. If this kind of family betrayal sounds familiar, hit like and subscribe to join others who have faced similar struggles. Growing up in a middle-class neighborhood in Portland, I learned early that hard work was the only path to success. My parents, Thomas and Margaret Walsh, were respectable members of the community, but showed clear favoritism toward my younger brother Jason from the day he was born. While they attended every one of his baseball games, they rarely made time for my debate competitions. When Jason needed a car for his 16th birthday, they purchased him a brand new sedan. When my 16th birthday arrived 2 years earlier, I received driving lessons and permission to use the family car occasionally. Despite the uneven treatment, I maintained hope that my achievements would eventually earn their recognition. Throughout high school, I worked weekends at the local hardware store, saving most of my earnings for college. After graduation, I attended State University with a partial scholarship, working 2 part-time jobs to cover the remaining tuition and living expenses. My degree in finance opened doors, but I started at the bottom like everyone else. The entry-level position at Foster Financial paid modestly but offered excellent advancement opportunities. I shared a small apartment with 2 roommates to minimize expenses while establishing myself professionally. Promotions came steadily as I consistently outperformed expectations, moving from junior analyst to senior financial advisor within 5 years. Every raise went directly into my house savings fund. My apartment grew emptier as roommates left to purchase their own homes or move in with partners. I remained focused on my goal, limiting myself to basic necessities. No vacations, no fancy restaurants, no new clothes, unless absolutely necessary. My 10-year-old sedan had over 200,000 miles, but still ran well enough to get me to work and back. The house hunting process lasted nearly 6 months. Real estate prices had climbed steadily, forcing me to look further from the city center than originally planned. When my realtor Jennifer showed me the modest 3-bedroom ranch house on Oakwood Street, I immediately felt at home. The neighborhood was well established with good schools nearby, perfect for eventual family plans. The price stretched my budget to its absolute limit, but Jennifer helped negotiate terms I could manage. Closing day arrived with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Signing my name dozens of times on legal documents made the process feel endless, but with each signature my dream inched closer to reality. Walking through the empty rooms afterward, planning where furniture would go and what colors to paint the walls, I experienced pure joy. That night, sleeping on a mattress on the floor of my own home, felt better than any luxury hotel. The following weekend, several friends helped me move the few possessions I owned and celebrated with a small housewarming party. Pizza boxes and cheap beer created a perfect first memory in my new dining room. Though I had called my parents to share the good news, they declined my invitation, citing previous commitments. Their absence felt familiar, but still stung beneath my celebration. In the following days, I began planning modest renovations the house needed. The kitchen cabinets required updating, and the main bathroom would benefit from new fixtures. Nothing fancy, just gradual improvements I could manage on weekends. This house represented stability, the foundation for building my future. Each mortgage payment would build equity, a concept my finance background made me appreciate fully. After settling in for 2 weeks, I called my parents again, hoping they might show interest now that I was settled. My mother answered with her usual polite but distant tone. When I enthusiastically described the house and neighborhood, she responded with a non-committal, "That sounds nice, Luther." When I invited them to visit that weekend, my father took the phone and said they were busy but would call soon. The conversation ended without congratulations or questions about my accomplishment. The invitation to Sunday dinner came unexpectedly the following Friday. My mother called mentioning she was making pot roast, my favorite childhood meal. Believing this might be their way of acknowledging my achievement, I arrived at their suburban home, carrying a bottle of reasonably priced wine. The familiar scent of roasting meat and vegetables filled the house, but the atmosphere felt unusually tense. My father greeted me with a distracted handshake, rather than the usual half-hug. My mother accepted the wine with a tight smile, commenting that it would have been nice to bring something for Jason too. I had not realized Jason would be joining us, but attempted to maintain a positive attitude as we moved to the living room. The conversation remained superficial, focused on neighborhood gossip and weather predictions. When we finally sat down to eat, my mother placed the largest portion in front of my empty chair, saying Luther has been so lucky lately finding that house in such a nice area. The way she emphasized lucky minimized the years of sacrifice and discipline it took to save for the down payment. As we ate, my father cleared his throat and mentioned casually that Jason had lost his job at the marketing firm the previous month. Bad timing too, he added, with the baby coming and apartment lease ending. This was the first I had heard about either situation. Jason had married his girlfriend Amanda 6 months earlier, but had not mentioned pregnancy during our infrequent text exchanges. That neighborhood you bought in would be perfect for a growing family, my mother interjected. Those good schools nearby, and the park within walking distance. My father nodded, adding, family should share good fortune. Your brother has responsibilities now. The implication hung in the air as I carefully set down my fork. I worked extremely hard for 5 years to afford this house, I explained. Every extra shift, every promotion, living with roommates to save money. My mother waved her hand dismissively. That is just selfish individualism talking. Family takes care of family. My father nodded in agreement, adding, you have always been able to land on your feet. Jason needs stability now. The doorbell interrupted our increasingly uncomfortable conversation. Jason entered without waiting for anyone to answer, his confident stride unchanged since high school when he was the star quarterback. He greeted our parents warmly, then turned to me with a smirk. So, homeowner now. When do I get the grand tour? The way he said it suggested he already felt entitled to visit whenever he wanted. Throughout dinner, he peppered me with questions about the house, particularly interested in the exact location and nearby amenities. When I mentioned the school district, he exchanged meaningful glances with our parents. Amanda and I were looking at that exact neighborhood, he revealed. Before the layoff, of course. Now we are staying with her parents temporarily. The way he emphasized temporarily while looking at me made his expectations uncomfortably clear. Driving home that night, I tried to rationalize their behavior. Perhaps they were just concerned about Jason during a difficult time. Yet something about their coordinated questioning and entitled attitude left me deeply unsettled. The following morning, text messages began arriving from both parents. Have you thought about our conversation? My father wrote. Jason and Amanda would benefit so much from your generosity, my mother added hours later. Family supports family in times of need, came another text the next day. The messages escalated over the week, becoming increasingly direct about my obligation to help my brother. When I responded that I could possibly help him with job contacts, but could not give up my house, my father replied, you need to do right by your brother. We raised you better than this selfishness. The certified mail arrived at my office on a Tuesday morning. My administrative assistant brought it to my desk with a concerned expression, noting it required my signature. The return address showed my parents' names, but the sender was Williams and Associates Attorneys at Law. My hands trembled slightly as I opened the envelope, revealing legal documents that left me momentarily breathless. My parents were suing for ownership of my house, claiming they had provided significant, undisclosed financial assistance for the purchase, making them entitled to determine its ultimate ownership. They further claimed that family agreements superseded standard property law, and that as my parents they maintained authority over major acquisitions. The shock hit me physically. I excused myself to the restroom where I splashed cold water on my face, trying to process this betrayal. When my boss noticed my distracted state later that day, I reluctantly explained the situation. She expressed sympathy and approved 2 personal days for me to address the legal crisis. The first attorney I consulted wanted a $10,000 retainer before taking the case. Family property disputes get messy, he explained. The emotional components complicate otherwise straightforward legal matters. 2 more consultations yielded similar responses, with retainers ranging from $8,000 to $12,000. My house savings had been completely depleted by the down payment and moving expenses. Taking on that level of debt seemed impossible. That evening I drove to my parents' house unannounced, the legal papers clutched in my hand. My mother answered the door with a surprised expression that quickly hardened when she saw what I was holding. My father joined her in the entryway, arms crossed defensively. "How could you do this?" I demanded, my voice breaking despite attempts to remain composed. "Everything I put into that house came from my own earnings. Every dollar. You know that." My mother's response chilled me. "Jason needs that house more than you do. He has a baby coming. You are just one person." My father added with cold calculation, "The courts favor family interest. Our lawyer says we have a solid case." From the living room, Jason appeared leaning against the doorframe with a smug expression. "Nothing personal, bro. Just makes more sense for a family to have that house." The casual way he already considered my home his property felt like a physical blow. During our heated exchange, I discovered they had promised Jason months earlier they would secure my house for him once I purchased it. They had always assumed I would eventually comply with their wishes, or be legally forced to surrender it. The betrayal cut deeper knowing this had been their plan all along. Word spread quickly through extended family. My aunt called to express disappointment in my refusal to help family in need. My cousins sent messages, suggesting I was being unreasonable. Only my maternal grandfather remained neutral, advising me simply to stand your ground if you believe you are right. With professional legal representation beyond my financial reach, I spent evenings at the county law library, researching self-representation. The librarian, a retired paralegal named Howard, took interest in my situation and suggested resources for preparing a proper defense. "You will be at a disadvantage," he warned, "but judges can spot manipulation if you present your evidence clearly." The financial strain mounted quickly. Filing response paperwork cost hundreds of dollars I barely had. Taking time off work to prepare documents and appear at preliminary hearings threatened my job performance during a crucial project period. Most nights I slept only 4 or 5 hours, waking with legal phrases spinning through my mind. My refrigerator contained only the most basic groceries as I redirected every spare dollar toward legal expenses. The morning of the court hearing arrived with gray skies that matched my mood. I had prepared as thoroughly as possible, organizing bank statements, pay stubs, mortgage documents, and correspondence with the realtor. My suit, normally reserved for client presentations, felt constraining as I entered the courthouse alone. In stark contrast, my parents arrived with Jason and a polished attorney whose tailored suit probably cost more than my monthly mortgage payment. The courtroom's formal atmosphere intimidated me as we took our respective places. Judge Eleanor Martinez, a woman in her 60s, with penetrating dark eyes, reviewed the case documents thoroughly before proceedings began. My parents' attorney, Bradford Williams, opened with confidence, speaking eloquently about family obligations and parental guidance rights. He painted me as an ungrateful son, refusing to acknowledge my parents' contributions to my success. When my turn came, I approached the podium with notes trembling in my hands. "Your Honor," I began, my voice initially unsteady, but strengthening. "With each word I stand before you today, representing myself, because I cannot afford an attorney to defend what is rightfully mine. The house in question was purchased entirely with my own earnings, saved over 5 years of working 60-hour weeks and living far below my means." Judge Martinez listened attentively as I explained my financial journey, occasionally asking clarifying questions that suggested genuine interest in the facts. When my father took the stand, he testified that he had provided substantial financial support throughout my adult life, culminating in significant contributions toward my house down payment. My mother corroborated this story, adding that there had always been a family understanding that property acquisitions would benefit the entire family according to need. My opportunity to present evidence arrived. I provided bank statements showing every deposit into my house fund coming directly from my employer. My tax returns demonstrated complete financial independence since college graduation. The mortgage application clearly listed me as the sole borrower with no co-financial assistance. The judge reviewed these documents carefully while my parents exchanged nervous glances. When Jason took the stand, his testimony revealed more than intended. My parents assured me the house would be perfect for my family, he stated confidently. They said once Luther bought it, they would make sure it came to me since I needed it more. So you were aware of this plan before your brother even purchased the property? Judge Martinez asked sharply. Well, yeah, Jason replied carelessly. They said they would handle it. During cross-examination, I asked Jason directly about his expectations. When did you first learn? I was looking at houses in that neighborhood. Mom and Dad kept me updated on your house hunting, he answered. We figured you would find something good eventually, being in finance and all. And you expected to receive whatever house I purchased. Family helps. Family, he responded with the same phrase our parents had repeatedly used. When I questioned my parents about their future plans for the property, my father reluctantly admitted they intended to move into the house alongside Jason and his wife, creating a multi-generational home. This revelation contradicted their earlier testimony, focusing solely on Jason's needs. The emotional weight of years of unequal treatment finally overwhelmed me. Your Honor, I said, voice cracking slightly. I have spent my entire life trying to earn my parents' approval. I worked through college without their support, while they paid my brother's full tuition. I saved for 5 years, while they gave my brother money for vacations and a new car. This house represents the first thing I have ever had that is truly mine, earned through my own efforts. And now they want to take even that away. Judge Martinez's expression remained professional, but her questions to my parents grew increasingly skeptical. Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, can you provide any documentation of financial contributions to your son's house purchase? Bank transfers, checks, or gift letters? My parents' attorney attempted to introduce vague references to cash gifts, but the judge dismissed these without supporting evidence. The court deals in documented facts, not retroactive claims, she stated firmly. As the hearing progressed, I presented additional evidence that proved decisive. My tax records confirmed no significant gifts from family members that would have required gift tax reporting. Photos of my sparse apartment demonstrated my frugal lifestyle during saving years. Text messages from my parents after the house purchase showed no mention of financial contributions, only their sudden interest in the property, once Jason needed housing. The most damaging evidence emerged when I presented documentation of my parents' financial gifts to Jason over the years. College tuition payments, car purchases, wedding expenses, and regular assistance deposits to his account totaled over $100,000. By contrast, I had received under $5,000 in birthday and holiday gifts since turning 18. Your Honor, I explained, this pattern demonstrates that my parents have consistently provided for my brother while expecting me to support myself. It contradicts their claim that family resources are shared equally. I then revealed the series of threatening text messages from my parents and extended family, following my refusal to surrender my house. The coordinated pressure campaign undermined their claims of benevolent family concern. My parents' lawyer, increasingly uncomfortable with the direction of the hearing, attempted to pivot their argument. Your Honor, regardless of the financial details, the Walsh family has a moral tradition of supporting members in greatest need. With a baby coming, Jason Walsh clearly demonstrates higher necessity. Judge Martinez removed her glasses and addressed him directly. Counselor, this court adjudicates legal rights, not subjective determinations of relative need. Based on the evidence presented, I find no legal basis for the plaintiff's claim to the property in question. The judge then addressed my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, the documentation clearly establishes that Luther purchased this property independently, without your financial contribution. Furthermore, evidence suggests you may have initiated this action in bad faith with pre-existing plans to appropriate property you knew was purchased solely through your son's efforts. As the implications of her words sank in, my parents' lawyer requested a brief recess to confer with his clients. When court reconvened, he reluctantly announced, "Your Honor, in light of information that was not previously provided to counsel, we wish to withdraw the complaint." Judge Martinez shook her head. "At this juncture, I am dismissing this case with prejudice. The court finds for the defendant." She added a surprising additional order. "Furthermore, the plaintiffs are prohibited from further harassment of the defendant regarding this property. Any violation will result in contempt charges." The solid knock of her gavel echoed with finality. My parents avoided eye contact as they huddled with their attorney. Jason stormed out immediately. I remained seated, absorbing the victory that felt hollow against the background of family destruction. In the courthouse hallway, I gathered my documents slowly, emotionally exhausted. A soft voice interrupted my thoughts. "Luther." It was Amanda, Jason's wife, standing awkwardly nearby. "I just wanted to say I am sorry. I never wanted this to happen." Her sincerity seemed genuine, her hand resting protectively over her slightly rounded stomach. "I tried to tell Jason this was wrong, but your parents convinced him he deserved your house." She lowered her voice. "They have been controlling our lives too, making all our decisions. This made me see how unhealthy it has become." Her unexpected kindness provided the only moment of human connection in an otherwise devastating day. The legal victory should have felt triumphant. But returning to my house that evening, I found only emptiness awaiting me. The rooms that had represented achievement now echoed with the painful absence of family support. I wandered from room to room, trying to recapture the joy I had felt just weeks earlier. The knowledge that my own parents had conspired against me created a wound deeper than I had experienced before. Sleep eluded me for several nights. Eventually, recognizing the toll on my mental health, I found a therapist specializing in family estrangement. Dr. Patterson helped me understand that maintaining boundaries with toxic family members was not selfish, but necessary for healing. "Your house represents both your achievement and your autonomy," she explained. "Their attempt to take it symbolizes their resistance to your independence." Through therapy, I established clear boundaries with my family. For 6 months, I maintained minimal contact, responding to messages with brief factual replies while avoiding emotional engagement. When my father attempted to minimize the lawsuit as a misunderstanding, I calmly restated that their actions had broken my trust and would require time to repair if ever. Working on house improvements became my therapy between sessions. Each completed project, from refinishing hardwood floors to installing new kitchen backsplash, reinforced my ownership, both physically and emotionally. The process of transforming the space helped transform my perspective as well. Connections with neighbors gradually formed into meaningful friendships. The retired couple next door invited me for weekly dinners. The young family across the street needed occasional babysitting, which I provided gladly. These relationships, based on mutual respect rather than obligation, taught me how healthy connections should feel. Colleagues at work who had supported me throughout the ordeal became closer friends. When Robert and Samantha invited me to their wedding, including me at a table with their close family, I experienced belonging without manipulation. These chosen relationships gradually filled the void left by family estrangement. Almost exactly 1 year after the court case, Amanda contacted me. She and Jason had moved to another state, away from my parents' influence. Their daughter, now 4 months old, had never met her grandparents. "We are visiting the area next month," she explained. "Would you like to meet your niece?" The meeting took place at a neutral coffee shop. Jason remained in the car, still unable to face me, but Amanda brought their daughter Lily. Holding my niece for the first time created complicated emotions. Her innocent face knew nothing of family discord. After an hour of cautious conversation, Amanda thanked me for seeing them. "Jason is still working through his issues," she explained, "but I want Lily to know her uncle." This small opening helped me realize forgiveness did not require forgetting. I could maintain healthy distance, while still allowing for possible future healing. I sent birthday and Christmas gifts to Lily, but declined Amanda's invitation to visit them at her parents' house the following year. Professionally, the resilience I developed through adversity led to new opportunities. When a major client specifically requested me for their portfolio management, citing my attention to detail and principled approach, I recognized how personal growth had enhanced my professional capabilities. The promotion that followed included a compensation package that would have seemed impossible just 2 years earlier. The most profound lesson from this painful journey was understanding that self-worth cannot depend on family validation. Their inability to celebrate my achievements reflected their limitations, not my value. Building a life filled with earned accomplishments and chosen relationships proved more fulfilling than chasing approval that would never come. The friends who have become my chosen family demonstrate how relationships should nourish rather than deplete us. From neighbors who check in during storms to colleagues who celebrate promotions, these connections provide genuine support without keeping score or attaching conditions. I have learned that peace comes not from winning battles but from knowing which battles deserve fighting. Standing up for myself preserved more than just my house. It established that my life belongs to me, my choices matter, and my boundaries deserve respect. Yet maintaining an opening for reconciliation, should it ever become healthy and possible, honors the compassion I choose to nurture, despite past wounds. Have you ever had to defend something that was rightfully yours from people who should have supported you instead? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story might help someone else find the courage to stand up for themselves. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more real-life stories about overcoming family challenges. Thank you for listening. And remember, sometimes the family we create through friendship provides the unconditional support we all deserve.